Hi there, you lovely lot, and welcome to the latest episode of Pat's Procrastination, episode 63, brought to you by the Pat's Propaganda YouTube channel. Please do not forget to be rating and subscribing to said YouTube channel so that you never miss an episode. And also, don't forget to be going over to patspropaganda.com for any articles and or swag that you may like. So, pretty much off season. OTAs has happened, and it's still happening. However, it's just some guys running around in some shirts right now. There really isn't a lot to talk about. So because of that, we thought we would bring you a more entertaining episode. Of course, we will talk about the Patriots, and everything that we discuss and argue will be Patriots and football centric. But we thought we'd give you some entertainment rather than just telling you the same thing over and over again, that someone's running around a decent route, that kind of thing. So I am Claire Clazzy Clare. He is Chudders. Chudders, how are things with you?
Everything's good with me, thank you. Enjoying. We're getting some football now. It's not quite the football we want. We're getting a step closer.
I really wish you wouldn't wish the year away. The year is going fast enough as it is. I cannot believe that we are this close to June, which is like the 6th month of the year. I know that's very obvious, people, but I'm still kind of getting over the fact that it's already
still Christmas to you, is it?
It just feels like everything was 5 minutes ago, and again, 5 years feels 5 minutes ago sometimes because I'm old. But anyway, enough of that. Yeah, as you said, football is closer. We have eyes on some of the new guys ish, and because it's only an ish, that's why we wanted to bring this more entertainment show. And while I think about it, folks, obviously the comments on the YouTube channel are open, so things that we talk about today, maybe uniforms, maybe players that we're interested in, maybe the schedule that we are scared of or happy about or confident about. We'd like your comments as well so that we can talk about them maybe on the next show. So do feel free to reach out on the socials or, as I said, comment on the YouTube comments. Sorry, I get that in there while I remembered, because you know what I'm like.
No, that's good thinking. So, Claire, with OTA starting, what's intrigued you? What's piqued your interest?
There's been so much. Oh my god, no. Will Campbell being starting left tackle, just being left tackle. I can't say it piqued my interest. It's a nice reassurance. Whilst that's why I wanted to do this entertainment issue, because there's only so much you can talk about. There's only so many times that they've been out there, and it is really quite small. And there's obviously still a chance for them to mix it up. It's good to see that they got him as a left tackle. They're playing him as a left tackle. Hopefully he will be a left tackle. And that's where I'm at with that one. And I think that was one of the biggest stories going into the draft was, is he a left tackle? And so far, touch wood, it is.
Yeah, no, you feel confident slightly that maybe 4/5, you feel maybe have some confidence in 4/5 of that O-line. And I say that without even possibly knowing who one of those fifths is at centre.
Right.
But you're there's sort of an overarching confidence that, okay, if it is Bradbury, then I've got confidence you've got like an NFL vet that's going to be sort of playing the position. And if it's Wilson, you think, okay, I'm keen to see that young guy. He's come with a great upside. There's confidence there, even if you're not entirely certain which one of them it will be. Probably left guard is the only question mark where you're hoping someone wins the job. Not that 3 other people lose it and he's the one that's left sucking his thumb, but you just hope that between all the bodies they've got, one of them's going to win it, and you'll have a starting 5 that is genuinely the 5 best players playing well as a unit. And so, it's good to see that he's come straight in and he is playing left tackle. I think it's probably what we all expected. When we get to competitive reps, whether that's in the sort of mixed practice or whether that is some preseason games, although, you know, who's he really going to go against? Are you only really interested in those early reps where he's going against maybe some actual starting edge rushers? But no, it's good to see they haven't had to move him inside already, having realised, oh, hang on, no, his arms really aren't going to be short enough or anything like that. he's going, and let's see how it develops.
I mean, that's just a really small kind of nugget of what is going on, because you've got the other likes of the wide receiver room being sort of stacked with bodies, shall we say. I don't want to sort of say anything else. And yeah, like you said, what's going to be the definitive O-line? How's the defense going to pan out? What are we going to see from the likes of, Spillane? Is he all he's made out to be? But it's so early thus why kind of having this show as it is, there's so little that you can really bank on right now that you can really see. There's so many what ifs, but we're still only playing with breadcrumbs. Whereas some of these guys, you really need to have a full deck of information before you can actually give that proper evaluation, sort of thing.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. The nuggets of positivity that you could probably cling to are things like Diggs has been out there doing stretching, doing warm-ups. He's been involved more than realistically probably we all thought he would be at this stage in his recovery. Now, that's not to say he's out there taking number one snaps and he should be plugged in week one, all guns blazing, firing with Drake May. But there was also fears that maybe we're not going to see him till Halloween later in the season. I'd like to think there's still a lot of time to go. You'd like to think, looking at it at the moment, there's a chance that he could be playing in those early weeks now, because he's taking the right steps. He's more advanced than we thought in his recovery. So that's one of the positives I've certainly taken from that receiver room. Looking at that, it's good to see how the rest of it plays out. Quite a bit of competition in that room. Who's going to take all those spots? It's probably, you get the impression, I think, with this management that nobody's safe. Just because you've been there a long time doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to keep your role. Just because you were drafted last year doesn't necessarily mean you're going to keep your role, Jalen Polk. Just to be honest, even someone like Hollins, just because you've been picked up this year in free agency doesn't guarantee you a roster spot. The one thing they kept saying early on, we're taking away entitlement. And I think that plays out in that receiver room, that there's jobs to be won there. Just because you're in the building doesn't guarantee you anything. You got to go out there and prove it and earn that shirt. And it's going to be interesting how that plays out. Are they going to be trades away or just plain cut? It's a busy room, but not every piece is going to fit.
Okay, so before they cut or trade away your possible answers to this question, I will ask you this before we get into the fun stuff then. Out of the rookies and free agents, so of the new players to the system, to the organisation, who are you currently looking forward to seeing the most?
Anywhere, or are we looking at just the receiver room?
No, anywhere of the whole. That's why I said before they trade them away or cut them. Any new addition that they have had, which one do you think stands out to you right now that you're most looking forward to seeing, either developing or in a game, either way?
So in game tape, which I appreciate we're not going to have for a while, Robert Spillane, I'm a linebacker guy. The energy and enthusiasm he's going to bring, the hard tackling, I'm looking forward to seeing that on the field. Now, I'm hoping it's not going to be ridiculously rough in practice, because I don't want him injuring anyone or even himself. And I appreciate preseason games, who he's going to be up against is not going to be the real test. It's when he's flying around in September, October, November that's really going to garner my interest there. But I'm looking forward to seeing him play. I'm looking forward to seeing him in a Patriots jersey. He's someone who potentially could be a captain because of his leadership, because of the example he sets and the energy he brings. I'm looking forward to seeing him in a Patriots shirt. I would say, just in general, the receiver competition, I'm really interested to see that how that plays out now over the summer, because as we say, that room's not set. There's people going to be leaving. It wouldn't even surprise me as trades are made, as players become available, as people are cut. It wouldn't even surprise me if someone who's not in that room today even made the roster, depending on what options become available. It's not a guarantee. I think they're already oversubscribed in that room, but I don't think Vrabel would be afraid of going to improve that room if he thought it was needed. If he thought, right, Baker's not making it, think we'll trade away Butte. Bourne's not good enough. If he thought I've only really got 4 or 5 guys I can trust in here, I want one more. It wouldn't surprise me if that happened. I'm still very intrigued as to how that room's going to play out. I will couple that with not necessarily players, and it's going to take time to see how this plays out. A big change of this offense is coaching, and I don't just mean Vrabel at the top or even the offensive coordinators. But one thought over the past few years is that the Patriots haven't developed players well enough. They haven't coached them well enough. They brought them in many different ways. They've not coached an O-line well enough. They've not coached receivers well enough. There's talent that's not seen its potential. I'm really hoping this new coaching setup is going to achieve that. So I'm interested to see people like Polk and Baker, who I'm not very high on after last year. I wasn't very high on them coming out of the draft, but certainly after last year, not very high on. Do they continue that slump and they're just gone? Or are you going to get a bolt of electricity in there with new people in the room, a bit more competition as well, and you're going to light a spark that's going to ignite one of these players? And that's just taking with the receiver room as the example there. There's others as well. There's quite a competitive interior, defensive interior room, for example. Let's see. Williams, Barmore, Tonga, Farmer. Who's going to win those jobs? You know, I'm really interested to see how this coaching fires the team up this year and develops them. So if you have to give me one name, I'm going to go with Spillane. But who's yours, Claire?
He was definitely one of the ones up there simply because, you know, he was a good signing, a veteran that's interesting to see inject some sort of dominance and dynamicness into the defense that might be necessary now. Because we're so used to the defense being good, you know, the Patriots defense, you know, thing of legends almost. So it's good. Not saying that he's a thing of legends, don't get me wrong, folks. It's just, it's interesting that they've brought somebody like that in, and I'm excited to see, because whilst I've never admitted to being a linebacker girl, always been tight ends and O-line, it is an interesting, obviously I love the sport as a whole, so it's becoming more and more difficult to sort of isolate favorites because just loving the game as a whole. But yeah, he brings that aggressiveness that's enjoyable for me to the game. So quite excited. A lot of the new names I'm sort of interested to see anyway, because there was also who am I thinking of? The one who's been working with Will Campbell, Morgan Moses.
Oh yeah,
interesting.
Holding clinic.
Exactly. So whilst I know the O-line you don't see a lot per se, as in the way you do as receivers and linebackers, I'm interested to see how that evolves on the O-line. I'm looking forward to seeing the O-line being better, but Spillane was one of my top ones. So yeah, I kind of thought that you'd say him and we'd be in agreement. Sorry, on that's too early for me. Way too early on a Wednesday that was the Tuesday that should be a Friday or something like that. Anyway, so
no, I'd agree. And you've picked out a good thing there on the O-line, which we probably should have touched on earlier, because first and foremost, you'd like to think the individual talent in that O-line room is greater than it has been for probably a few years now.
Yes,
as a starting point. What you're hoping to see is a gel, maybe. You want to see a front five who just look like they've got a connection, look like they're working as one. Because you don't just want, I don't know, Morgan Moses, a great player at right tackle, but not sure about the other 4. They're all going different directions, whatever.
Yeah,
you want to see some gel, and I don't think that was there last year, because whoever they were plugging and playing in, you never really had any confidence where anyone was playing across the whole line last year. So you'd like to see some gel between a front five. This is the front five of the Patriots. This is their identity. And then likewise some scheme behind that as well.
Yeah.
Are they going to get the best out of both of those areas? You'd like to think Josh McDaniels coming in now is going to know how to achieve that. You'd like to think maybe with an improved running back room, they're going to get more out of it as well. Receiving room, we're yet to see. But it's you hope as a whole unit at those 3 different levels of individual talent, of working as a unit and of being schemed, you really hope to see quite a big jump this year.
Mm-hmm. One of the things I almost missed out, and you mentioned in McDaniels, is I'm interested to see if we see the resurgence of a fullback, if Brock Lampy is a fullback, if we do see that plugged into the offense significantly as we have seen in the past. Now, I know obviously the scheme and the way he's going to run everything is going to be different, but it's interesting that they've currently, and I say currently with an asterisk on the 28th of May, have more than one individual on the roster that is of a fullback nature. They have one sort of legitimately put down FB. So I'm interested to see about Lampy and also the new tight end, because I'm curious to see what this rookie's like.
Dupree.
Yeah, see how he works out. So that part of the offense is interesting as well. But I think the offense as a whole is going to be quite different for us as Patriots fans than we've seen over the last few years, in the way that hopefully it's just more successful and it's tighter. But just quickly touching on, those were the two guys on the offense that I was interested in. So that's as is now. Since we've been off air, they have released the schedule. So someone quite interestingly wrote into Patriots Unfiltered, show that both of us really love, folks, saying which of the schedule, which team on the schedule are you most confident about, most concerned, and most excited? I think it was put slightly differently, but yeah, that was the preface of things. So looking at the 2025 schedule that we are now aware of, what are your thoughts? And do you have a three: scared, confident, and excited? Or do you just have a general about some? What's your thoughts, Chudders?
So I'm not somebody who buys massively into the actual schedule making a difference. We've obviously known the teams they're going to play for quite a while. Yeah, there's obviously a run of 3 away games. There's a couple at home. I think there's a good spot for the Monday game and the bye. But generally, there's nothing there that really worries me in terms of how the games have been scheduled, and likewise, there's nothing that I think all the Pats have got a really good way that it's structured this year either.
Yeah.
So, quite boringly, I'm going to pick out the games that I'm not necessarily going to say worried about, but that I'm. But I guess I almost put worried and excited in the same breath here, because the Bills. I feel like the Bills. Those games
you only
are
allowed so many emotions. You only allowed like
exactly.
4 emotions.
I'm a
you
robot.
have to combine them.
Yeah. The Bills are probably the benchmark. Let's see how we're competing against them. Because throw away that win at the end of the season last year, just because I buy nothing into the meaning of that victory. But we're going to play them away in week 5, I think it is, and we're obviously at home in week about 15, something like that. How do we compete against them? How do we compete? Are we competitive? Are we still building? Are they still light years ahead of us? I'm scared,
as
much as
closed.
we could come out of those games getting quite soundly beaten by a team that's far better than us, in all honesty. But I'm also excited, because if we can go into those games coming out with something, then no, we can stand toe-to-toe with probably the best in our division, and realistically a Super Bowl contender going into the season, most likely. And so I'm both excited and scared, probably for that same game of, right, how are we doing? How are we benchmarking ourselves? How much progress have we made this off-season? How well is it playing out? How well is everyone gelling? I'd probably say, what's the third emotion I'm meant to be showing?
Confident.
Which one am I most confident? Jets. I want to destroy the Jets. I don't like the Jets. I just want to destroy them.
The same as being confident that you will.
Yeah, I'm most confident we're going to win that one.
Who's their quarterback now?
I'm most confident.
I should know this.
The man that I wanted a few years ago when we took Matt Jones, Justin Fields.
Oh, of course. Oh, yeah, the Jets. Okay. So
you're confident we're going to smash them as well. Brilliant. Excellent.
So, folks, on that, we would like to hear.
Well, hang on.
Comments.
No. What are your three?
Yeah. I want to make sure that the viewers remember to comment in the YouTube comments. We want to know, who are you most confident about, concerned about, and excited about? Which three, either games or opponents? It can be whichever. Like, because you said, I know what you said about this. The schedule come out and it doesn't change that much, because it's just we already knew who we were playing, but it just gives us a springboard to talk about the topic of which team are you most concerned about or least concerned about, that kind of thing. So I want people to comment, and we can maybe touch on this again in a couple of weeks, because I know we're going to have a little bit of a quiet time between soon and like training camp, so we can always pick it back up and involve the viewers' comments, because I think that would be very interesting to see what other people are thinking, and if they don't all just agree with you and your three emotions. So I'm most confident about a couple of them, but I think the Browns, I don't think the Browns have got their quarterback situation or much else very set up, really, to be honest with you.
You copy and paste that every year for about the last 25 years at least.
Gosh, I feel bad for some of the Browns fans. I really do. I noticed when I was looking at the schedule, because it gives you, as I said, it gives you the springboard to look and see. There's quite a few teams, and I don't know if I've not noticed this before just because I haven't paid enough attention or just because it hasn't been something that we've gone through. The quarterback situation, there's many teams that don't have a very optimum quarterback situation. And I don't know if I'm more aware of that because we went through a not very optimum quarterback situation.
I'm gonna call you out though on using the past tense, because as high as I am with Drake May, he's not proven he's the guy yet. Yeah, we're not out of a quarterback competition ourselves yet. There's not going to be one in camp. I'm not saying that Josh Dobbs is pushing him, but we're not set at quarterback yet. I think we got the guy.
You don't think
he needs to prove it.
I'm fine. I'm good. I'm good. I'm all good.
Yeah. Weren't you all good about our last quarterback?
And he had a good first year, so I was all good for a year.
But the point being, it didn't turn out well.
I'm right, do you? It's very interesting. Anyway,
no, but I don't think you were right.
We're just going to move on.
I don't think you were right.
No, I said you never bring up when I am right.
Yeah, because I didn't think you were right about Jones.
No, not about that particular thing. What I'm saying is you never bring up when I am right about something, is what I mean.
Were you right
only ever bring up.
Did you win a sandwich bet?
Do you want my answer, or should we just close the show now before we have a?
You said you wanted something to argue about. We found it.
I didn't want a proper argument. Yeah. So Browns. See, the Raiders haven't got a great quarterback situation. Steelers, I don't think they have a quarterback.
They don't.
I don't see Mason.
I'm so hoping. As much as I do not like the Steelers, I do not like Rodgers. It's a perfect combination of things and people that I do not like in football, and I'd quite like them together so I can just monumentally hate them together. I would be really, really quite amused if after all of this, Rodgers went and signed for the Saints or something instead, having appeared to have strung them along all off season, waiting, and then decides at the last minute that
I think he's
going to go somewhere else instead, and they just don't have a quarterback this year. They play everything in scat back.
Saints, like you said, the quarterback situation. The Titans may have their quarterback of the future, but he's new. The Browns have, isn't it? They have 25 quarterbacks, and when you have 25, you don't have one. The Falcons, I don't know how that's going to pan out. Penix. The Jets, the Giants. Googled that this morning because I couldn't remember who their quarterback was. Shocked me to remember. Oh God, yeah, it's Russell Wilson. Oh, so yeah, I'm looking at this schedule going, well, they haven't really got a quarterback. 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 And it's interesting that that's how we're judging it. And yeah, but we're sort of predispositions now because we've been through it. We know what it's like to not have a quarterback very well. So yeah, there's quite a few that I am not concerned, mostly confident. Quite frankly, I don't think I'm as scared of anyone. I'm not as scared of the Bills. Hate the Bills. They're probably going to beat us, but I'm not scared of them.
You're not scared of losing to them.
Maybe
you just don't want to.
Yeah.
It's weird that probably, you know, what would scare Patriots?
The Ravens, they might beat us.
But in some ways, if you lost to the Bills, you lost to the Ravens, as disappointing that would be, you want to win those games. If Patriots fans are being honest with themselves, we're not going to be at that level yet.
No, you're losing to teams that you deserve to lose to.
Yeah, exactly. What would be more scary is if, like those teams you rattled off, if we're losing to the Raiders, we're losing to the Saints, we're losing to the Browns. That's scary.
You have a very good point there. That's a very good point. I am scared of losing to them. I don't think they will, but I'm scared of losing to them.
So have you gone down through win-loss yet?
Not properly, no. Not with enough. It'd take me a while, so yeah. I'd need to think about it. You know, I have to mull it over and really chew on it.
The nuance. That's a future show, maybe, is it?
Yeah.
We can talk through.
It is, because we should be wrapping up soon, because for, you know, this is supposed to be an entertainment episode. People don't want us to drone on and argue in an entertainment episode. Although pretty much all our shows are supposed to be entertainment episodes, because, you know, it's not like we're beat reporters bringing you breaking news. We just like to talk Patriots. So before we wrap up then, is there any fun topics that you want to cover in the last couple of minutes?
So I think you want to speak about jerseys, am I right?
It was something in the pot of Patriot-centric or adjacent stuff to discuss, opinions and things that other people obviously can also get involved with as well. There's another one that people can comment, because it's a big thing of how people like the jerseys. A lot of older fans like the jerseys that people used to hate and things like this. It's very intriguing for someone who has only been a fan for just under a decade, kind of thing. Because I've only known pretty much mostly the same two unis, really.
So do you want them just to stick with the blue they've got, with the sort of what essentially was a colour rush jersey that seemed to morph into just their standard jersey now? Do you want to go back to anything from the 90s? I'm sure you've seen those strips.
I like the blue, the shade of blue that they have now. An unpopular opinion that I disagree with is I don't mind the blue. So the blue shirt and the blue pants with the stripe, as long as the stripe matches, type situation. And I know a lot of people don't like that, but I like blue, so maybe that. I think the one thing that bugs me about it is, and I can see what they say about how the sort of grey pants last season just looked dirty more than anything, like off-whitey grey colour. Yeah, I agree, it did look dirty. They need to decide on grey or silver, because the silver helmet grey pants, it's like 50 shades of grey, literally. Can we just pick one shade of grey and have things that colour? Because I don't mind grey trousers with a black, with a blue and a grey type situation, or silver, blue, silver, because it complements it, but get it matching. Stop having weird stripes that don't go as well. It's less the actual physical jersey itself and more the like mismatch of things. Get things a bit more matching is all I'm really bothered about, because I don't mind, you know, whatever. I like that it is blue, as long as there's some blue in it, because it just feels weird if there's no blue there for me. But that's because I'm a newer fan, sort of thing. Just red and white feels, it looks like the Bills when we had I think it was last season, we had a setup with a red jersey and white pants, I think, and the Bills had almost the same, and that was really strange. That felt really strange. So yeah, for me, it's choose silver or grey. I don't care which one it is, but whichever one it is, make sure everything that's supposed to be that colour is that colour, and then it'll complement it better, is where I'm kind of going. What about you in your last minute of the show?
I quite like the red, and so I was going to ask you, I guess, with the rivalry jerseys that are are going to come out for 1 week. I
Mm.
think it's going to be about the Jets, the game against the Jets, but I might be wrong. I might be making that up. But within the divisions, there might be some rivalry jerseys this year.
Yeah.
If you were the designer then, and let's say it does have to be different conceptually, you can't just say, "Oh yeah, I'm going blue pants and blue shirt." It's got to be something different. What would you design?
I don't know. I'm not a very designery person, really.
Fair enough.
Do you have
I'd
a
like to
design
see.
in mind then?
I'd like to see the red make a comeback.
Mm.
I'm not as I'm with you on the blue. I quite like the darker blue compared to the lighter shade of blue that they had in the 90s. I agree
I
with
like
you on
this
the lighter
blue.
pants rather than the sort of grey version that they've had rather than silver and all that. But I would like to see the red jerseys. I'm intrigued by the rivalry set that's going to come out, and as much as anything, the direction that the NFL is probably trying to go there, because you see it in like baseball or in hockey, that you end up with these like City Connect jerseys and one-off game jerseys, and it feels like it's a way to sort of market something every year. We can just throw out jersey for one game. People will buy it because there's collectors out there. And also, if you are someone who, I don't know, you're a Celtics fan and you quite like the look that this year the Patriots have got a green jersey for their one-off, and I'm going to get it because it matches in that way. And next year it's camo for the troops. I'm going to get that one. People will collect all these jerseys. It can be good marketing. If it's blue and you've got a version of the blue, then I'm just going to stick with the blue that I've got, and you aren't necessarily going to buy a new one. I see how marketing wise it's potentially an avenue for the teams, for the league to go down that way of let's change it up every year. Not everyone's going to buy it every year. Not everyone's going to be interested in it, but will enough people be, and are you going to be able to create a brand there, a sort of or a gimmick, should I say, that is going to be popular? And so something new out, and not like necessarily the Oregon Ducks where it's a different combination every week. But I'm intrigued to see how this plays out. What color they're going to go for,
Yeah, that will be interesting. I forgot about that.
Did you have any more fun topics you wanted to discuss?
No, I think we should wrap up, quite frankly.
Yes, boss.
Because there will be more episodes between now and when things really kick off anyway. So we will be able to discuss things that you comment, folks. So hit those comments with regards to the schedule, uni comments, or anything else that you want us to discuss and or argue, because it usually goes to the and or argue.
We should do a Claire Ask Me Anything question week where everyone can just write in with their questions. And
Chudders Ask Anything, because most people
anyone's
tend to have
interested in what I got to say.
you. No, they do. And so we're going to take that argument off air, folks. So that is it for another episode of Pat's Procrastination, brought to you by the Pat's Propaganda YouTube channel. Please do not forget to be subscribing to said YouTube channel so that we can get those numbers up there and you don't miss an episode of this craziness that is Pat's Procrastination. So, as always, tune in next time, folks, and go Pats.
LFG.